Hey guys, we're out here in High Rock Lake. It's Wednesday before the tournament. Made it up here a little bit early and figured we'd see what was going on out here. The water looks great. The weather is nice. It's been tough on this lake. I don't know what to expect, but we're here and let's see what happens. First day starts now. Guys, just want to check in at the end of the day. Probably fished for maybe 5 hours today. Did not catch a fish. Fished a lot of shallow stuff, a lot of docks, a lot of shallow wood. You know, everything 6 foot or less. Fished some salt plastics, some crankbaits. Really didn't see a whole lot of activity. Fished mainly around Tamarack Marina, within probably a mile or so, either direction of the marina there. Stayed close. So tomorrow we're going to venture out a little farther. We'll try a few different techniques, maybe get offshore some, and we'll see how it goes. See you tomorrow, out here. Hey guys, so it's day 2 of practice and a little bit of overcast this morning. You know, the weather looks like it's going to be great. Today I'm going to try a few different things, try throwing some top water. I'm going to go offshore a little bit, see if we can turn anything up. You know, yesterday did not get a bite. You know, High Rock Lake is living up to its nickname of Heartbreak Lake. As always, it's going to be tough, but I'm excited to get day 2 of practice started, and we'll see what happens. Let's go fishing. See ya out here. So at this point, it's getting towards the end of the day, and I've worked a lot of offshore structure, a lot of offshore humps, and really I'm frustrated at this point, and I decided to go right back to the bank. And that's what I did. I got a crankbait out, I started working some rock, taking my time, and thinking, well, if they can't be offshore, I just hit too many good places and didn't get any bites at all for the fish to be offshore. So ended up back shallow. Actually caught a couple fish doing this shallow, and I thought, well, maybe that's something, you know. So we're looking at 2 days of fishing with 2 fish in practice. You know, Heartbreak Lake is, you know, a nemesis for me and a lot of my other buddies, and you know, it's proven to be the case this tournament too. And that's why I left it for the day. And this is kind of the wrap up of day 2. Hey, because I couldn't find any gas. I found gas that afternoon.
You found what?
I found gas. Remember, I wasn't going to fish. I wasn't going to fish. And I told Vic I wasn't going to fish, and they got gas that evening.
You can call me back.
Man, it was like 6 o'clock when they had gas, man.
I'm so excited and pumped. He said, man, I go with Otto.
I was told,
You didn't miss.
I told him I was fishing with Vic. You remember that? I was supposed to fish with Vic. I was going, but then they didn't have gas, so I canceled it. And I didn't
put something.
They didn't have gas till later.
With my white boy and blah,
here we go. Discrimination.
You might well get all the video footage you can. Because you're a friggin' YouTube video. Very short.
Not a whole lot of fish catching going on in this video. What's going
The
on?
whole video is up the house.
Hey, we are staying in the monkey house. If everybody doesn't know it. Again.
Somebody watching your video like, all that some bitch did was rig tackle and talk about monkey. He didn't have no footage. You know,
Hey, because ain't no fish in High Rock Lake. Everybody knows that. There's no fish in High Rock Lake. Look, they got monkey cups, right? Monkey cups. Monkey plates.
You know what else is in this house? Me and Vic got beer.
monkey tables, monkey pictures everywhere.
Remember the video we do in Smith now?
I do.
I got a couple people call me. Hey man, you in that video? Yes, I do. I'm the best actor in that.
Hey, you're gonna laugh. I was on the water today, and a guy stopped me and started talking to me, and they're like, "Hey, where's your buddy at?" I'm like, "You mean Vic?" Like, yeah, where's Vic? I was like, he'll be out here tomorrow, so yeah.
Yeah, Farmer asked about you too.
There's another monkey.
Jeff, he was like, hey, when you come up, I'm like, Wednesday. He said, what about Otto? I'm like, he'll be a Wednesday. Hold that wild man.
Oh, wait.
I said, wild man.
Got videos, look, got more monkey video pictures in here. Everywhere he looks, monkeys. Monkey lights. It's a monkey house. Hey guys, so here we are, last day of practice on High Rock Lake. Got my main man Vic with me, and we're going to see what happens. It's been really tough out here the last 2 days. Not sure what we're going to do, but we're out here fishing, and we'll see how it goes. Let's go fishing out here. Any words of wisdom? Tow motor's not locking. Yeah, I've been out here I haven't caught a limit in 2 days of fishing, man. Yeah, been horrible, man. Yeah, man. Oh, really? So we got to take the head off this thing, huh? Trying to see.
Did you got something in here before in that hole?
No. Here's the metal clip, though. This is it right here.
What metal clip?
This is it. See this thing right here? See that thing right there? That thing right there has to be in front of that. See what I'm saying? That
okay.
has to be in front of that.
I got you.
Because it somehow slipped. Make sure my finger.
You know what is that, man? Quit salamin that yoke.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it right there. So we finally got the trolling motor fixed, and we got back on the water probably about an hour later. It didn't set us back too bad, although it certainly was annoying, and it kind of took me off focus for the last day of practice, and I started offshore. I thought to myself, there has to be some fish offshore. I still wasn't convinced there wasn't, and I went and started running some places that I had found, you know, previous times that I've been here, and I caught a few fish off of. I've never really found the kind of mother lode offshore on High Rock Lake that you always hear about, and I think a lot of the guys may have. For me, it's never worked out that way, but I wanted to double check a few more places. We just took our time, fished nice and slow. You know, Vic's always good to have in the back of the boat because he has a tendency to fish a little slower than me. And we took our time and we moved around a little bit. I didn't stay in one place for a whole long, you know, time this day because I was trying to cover some water and yet, you know, fish thoroughly as well. So we moved a few places within this creek, and one thing I noticed on High Rock Lake is there's not a whole lot of sharp contour drops, but there is contour, you know, ridges and slow drops, and there's humps on this lake, and if you pay attention to your charts you can find out where they're at, and usually most of these creeks have them, and it's just a matter of kind of getting way off the bank and taking your time and picking around. And usually you can find some stuff out here. Guys have put stuff in the lake, or maybe there's, you know, some, you know, natural structure or things left over from when, you know, they flooded the lake years ago. And that's what I kind of found in a few of these creeks, and I always try to check them. And that's what I did this last day. There was a lot of boat traffic. You can see some waves here. There was a lot of boat traffic on the water today, on Friday. I think some people had taken off work, and the water was surprisingly really clear in this area of the lake. And I also, believe it or not, I saw a plane land in this creek. I didn't realize they had that going on, but it was a beautiful morning. You know, there was very little wind. That's what had changed. The wind had really laid down the day before the tournament, and the sun had come out. It was really bright, and it really set up for tough conditions, but that's part of what made me think maybe I can go offshore and catch a few fish. And, you know, it didn't work out. You know, I spent a lot of time looking for these fish offshore. It didn't work out, not in this particular creek, so I had to make a move. And we packed up and we ran all the way down towards the dam area. And if you've ever been around the dam at High Rock Lake, you know it can be fairly deep. It's one of the deeper parts of the lake. I don't think High Rock is a very deep lake at all, but there are some steep drop-offs there. And I thought, well, maybe some of these fish are going to be holding in these drop-offs in the deeper water. I mean, it is that type of year, time of year. But really, we didn't do anything down here either. We spent some time picking it apart. I threw some jigs, I threw some soft plastics, and some shaky heads, things like that. We just kind of drug the drop off nice and slow, and between me and Vic both, we covered this area really well and just did not have any success. And really at this point, it's like, what do you go to, right? I mean, you fished offshore, you fish shallow, you fish some really steep banks on the lake, and you haven't had success really anywhere you fished. I mean, we've only caught a couple fish over the course of practice period, and So I said, well, I'm going to try one more thing, and I packed up and I went all the way to the back of Swearing Creek. And as you can see, the water was a lot dirtier here. There was some wood, and I took my time and I picked around shallow. I flipped to a lot of visible wood cover on the bank. I did throw a few crankbaits in here, not a whole lot, but my intent was to just try something different and try working this more, stained water, shallow water, and really that didn't work out either. So we picked this place apart. We took our time. I actually spent quite a bit of time in the back of this creek because it was getting later in the day, the last day of practice, and I really didn't know what to do or how to put something together. And that's the thing with fishing, is if you don't get the bites you need to kind of clue you in on what you should be doing, it makes it very difficult. And you hear guys talking about it. If I could just get 1 bite or 2 bites, that would make a difference. And that's really the truth. In High Rock Lake, those bites just didn't happen. And this pretty much wraps up the last day of practice. I had tried a little bit of everything and really hadn't found much. Sergeant Major, can I get a post-practice recap of High Rock Lake?
Yeah, don't come.
Don't come to High Rock Lake? Can you tell everybody out there on YouTube your thoughts on High Rock Lake?
It's kind of like the Vice President said about Guatemalans. Don't come.
So the question is, what's up with all the monkeys? The monkey house. It's the monkey house. That's what we call it. We stayed at...
That's the second year we stayed there. We go to the monkey house.
The other one last
No, we stayed in this one right here, the monkey house.
Well, next year you should stay in the other one. It's got a screened-in porch and a bigger kitchen.
Okay.
We used one at Crutch.
Okay. We lived in Florida for 15 years.
Yeah.
And when we first went down there, we talked to some of our friends and said we were thinking of getting monkeys as a pet. And then after we found out, how they're hard. They're a lot of work.
Right.
And I already have 2 daughters, so we didn't want to, we didn't want to mess with monkeys. So, anyway, our friends just, friends get you stuff, presents and stuff. We ended up accumulating that over 15 years, and we threw a lot out, but we didn't want to throw everything out, so we just put it all over there.
Yeah, I was like, man, there's monkey paintings and coffee cups and plates and placemats and chandeliers. We call this the monkey house. That's what we tell you. So where are you staying at? We're staying at the monkey house.
What we staying at? The monkey house. There we go. You got it.
People come here for monkey business a lot.
There you go.
Not all for fishing.
See you guys. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
So, called a co-angler. He goes, hey, what's going on? He's like, how's it going? Any chance to pre-fish? I said, yeah, that's this Wednesday.
What's this guy's name?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. He goes, I said, yeah, but that's this Wednesday. It's been a grind. He's like, oh. I'm like, for tomorrow, I'm just telling you, 10 foot or less, man. I'm not fishing anything deeper than 10 foot. So whatever you think you need to catch fish in 10 foot or less, that's probably what you need to bring.
Yeah.
He's like, you tried the bridges? And I was, so yeah, worked one bridge. Ain't getting on. Literally, I've shaky head, I've jerked bait, I've cranked, I've thrown fat worms, I've Carolina rigged, I've done it all. It's terrible right now.
Yeah.
He's like, what about black shaky head worm with chartreuse tail? and I said, dude, are you down here? Are you down here fishing, like creek fishing or something? You know something that I don't know? He's like, no, I'm not there. I'm like, have you ever been on high rock before? No, I've never been on high rock before in my life. 10 foot or less, dude. I think he has some kind of secret, like you try a black shaky head with a chartreuse tail.
No, I'm an idiot. Just been here for 3 days. Just riding
I'm
around.
thinking like maybe this dude's here, right? Like maybe he's
Maybe he's on something.
yeah, he's like
He ain't even been on the lake.
he's never been in a lake before in his life. Ever.
I feel like you remember a lot about this, Roman. I'm telling you. When did you get out? Back in 1960?
No, 1968.
68. You still remember your general orders. That's pretty impressive.
That's pretty damn
I'm
good.
telling you right now.
That's pretty damn good. I
Pretty
can
sharp.
Get home.
You got a good memory.
I'm telling you, he does, doesn't he?
Yes, sir.
Goddamn, I'd hate to do anything bad around him. All right, I'm going through boat check. I'm gonna have everything.
Jeff, good luck to you, my friend.
Man, you too.
81 years old today.
Yeah, 81, buddy.
Your birthday today?
Yep.
Happy birthday.
Thank you there, buddy. Thank you there. Yes,
Happy
sir.
birthday.
Thank
You
you
doing
there.
all right?
May the good Lord bring you 5
81 out here fishing on his birthday.
I'm trying to
Doing
give you
good.
a birthday present. 5 over 5.
So this footage is about noon on tournament day. I actually had some GoPro issues first thing in the morning, and I couldn't really take the time to figure out what was going on and troubleshoot that GoPro because I knew the window that I had to catch fish was really small. I thought if I caught any fish at all, it would be in the first hour or two of the day, and there was no way I was going to sacrifice 10 or 15 minutes to stop what I was doing to get this GoPro working. It somehow went out after the national anthem, and I actually caught a fish on my very first cast. I was right down from Tamarack Marina, and I was throwing crankbait shallow, and I caught a fish on my first cast, and I thought, wow, things are really going to turn out maybe to be a better day than I thought. And that idea quickly vanished as Heartbreak Lake proved true to its name. And I caught another one about 10 o'clock in a crankbait, and that was it. And from there, I ran a couple different places. I actually went to the very back of a creek here that I had not fished at all in practice. And I thought, well, if I hadn't caught much in practice, maybe I should try some new water in the tournament day. And I ran back in here, and I actually had one bite back in here. And I started flipping plastics. You can see I'm throwing a crankbait here. I started flipping plastics, a ways back in this creek, and I got one bite, and it looked like the fish would have kept, and I kind of pulled it away from him. That would have been my third keeper. It had probably, frankly, moved me up about 35 or 40 places, just that one fish. And we finished the day up, again, pretty much where I started, not too far from where I started, around the Tamarack, marina area. And I went back to flipping docks, and I got a jig out, and I just slowly worked and picked apart docks, and I really didn't catch much at all in practice doing flipping docks, but at this point I really didn't know what else to do. I mean, we had tried everything. I had tried a little bit offshore. I had tried shallow. I caught 2 fish shallow, and so I went back to it. I pretty much stayed shallow all day. I mean, I might have spent 30 minutes offshore total for this tournament day. But it was a shallow tournament for me just because I couldn't catch anything offshore in practice. But this is where we finished it up. Flipping docks. There was probably about another 10 boats in this area working the same docks. We passed each other several times. And this is probably the last 2 hours of the tournament day. And that pretty much wraps it up. 2 fish by 10 o'clock, 2 bites. That's all I had all day. And that was pretty much a wrap. 112. I mean, it helped, right? That's for sure.
think you're gonna be on board though.
I am.
Now get up there, find it.
All right, that's all she gets today is 2. I got 2. 2, Bobby.
I know Hank from Sneed's Ferry. Be sure to get some water on for me, John. From Sneed's Ferry, North Carolina. How are you doing, buddy?
Good.
He's got 2 in the bag. Gonna weigh 4 pounds and 8 ounces. 4-8.
Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing well. I'm out here in Maine this week doing some fly fishing, but I wanted to get this with them done, get some information out to you guys. First of all, I really appreciate you watching my videos. I'm asking everyone to take a minute and subscribe to my videos. I'm getting a lot of views, but really don't have that many subscribers. It's something that I would appreciate if you would just take a few minutes to do. A lot of work and time goes into making these videos, and it would help me out if you would subscribe, so thanks. High Rock Lake. So what has changed for High Rock Lake? For me, not a whole lot. I caught 2 fish on the lake. The fishing was tough. I don't think I caught a limit. If you take all the practice days combined, I didn't catch a limit on High Rock Lake. My cell service was still terrible. Lodging was still rough. The food was pretty good. The restaurant across from Tamarack Marina is really good, so I would encourage you to eat there. But logistics-wise, not a lot has changed. As far as the fishing goes, I fished shallow, I fished deep. I fished in Abbott's Creek, Second Creek, Swearing Creek, Crane Creek. I pretty much hit most of the lake. I fished down by the dam. Those creeks down around the dam. I can't remember their names right off the top of my head, but I really covered a lot of water. Didn't find much. And some of the guys caught them. They always do. 18 pounds won the tournament, which was still light for High Rock Lake. So what have I learned? What can I tell you about High Rock Lake? First off, I'm going to tell you, I think High Rock Lake gets a lot of pressure. I probably saw, I don't know how many guys flipping a black and blue jig, right? Like, it seemed like every boat that went past me, we were literally flipping the same docks. Every boat that went past me, there was some guy in the back of it throwing a black and blue jig, throwing up underneath the pylons, up in the shade, taking their time, working it out. I never saw anybody catch a fish on a black and blue jig, not one person. In fact, I know a couple of guys that said they were catching them on a black and blue jig in practice, and they came in with 1 or 2 fish. So I don't know what the deal with that is, but I didn't have any luck on a black and blue jig. I think, first off, I would tell you, I think finesse presentations are important in High Rock Lake. Next time I come back, I'm really going to take some time and maybe throw some drop shots, some really small worms. I did throw a shaky head some, didn't get a whole lot of bites on it this time, but I think finesse is the way to go in High Rock Lake. Even offshore, I threw Carolina rigs, I threw deep diving crankbaits, I threw big shaky heads and big worms offshore, never had any luck at all this tournament, and ultimately I ended up fishing shallow. And the only way I could catch fish in this tournament was with a shallow crankbait, and just basically grinding it on rocks, natural rock. That's where I had my success. I threw topwater quite a bit in the morning, never had any success on topwater. A few of my buddies threw topwater a lot, never had any success. I know the week before, guys were catching them on high rock, on topwaters because the water was up a little bit, but for me, it didn't happen this week. So finesse presentations is 1. 2, I think you're better off working 1 or 2 or 3 areas in this lake and rotating them. So if you go to a spot and you've got a bite or 2 on it, you go that morning and you don't get bit, come back to it around noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I think you're better off doing that than covering a lot of water in High Rock Lake, because that's never worked out for me. I think there's a lot of dead water in High Rock Lake. And just because you don't get bit within that certain hour or 2 that you're working an area doesn't mean that you won't get bit later in the day. They pull a lot of water in this lake, and that positions the fish differently, whether it's offshore or even shallow. And some of the guys you'll talk to will tell you when they start pulling water hard on this lake, it actually makes the fish go shallow. The bridges, that's something that I think is a staple in High Rock Lake. A lot of people fish the bridges. I will tell you, I worked on bridges and never caught anything on a bridge. So finesse presentations, work the same areas multiple times during the day, and don't write anything off, and take your time and fish the areas that you know have fish and hit them multiple times during the day. And I think maybe that will result in a few more fish catches for you. I've never caught a limit on this lake. It's been super tough. My buddies that I fish with a lot haven't caught a limit on this lake, and we've done all those things. You know, we all kind of have the same idea what we need to do to fish this lake, and for us, for me, it really hasn't worked out. You know, High Rock Lake, I think, has some really big fish in it. I don't think there's a lot of fish in High Rock Lake, but it's definitely a lake worth fishing, and you're fishing BFLs, you're definitely going to have to deal with High Rock Lake. I survived. I caught a few fish. My buddies caught a few fish. I know some guys that didn't survive, right? They didn't catch anything on this lake. They zeroed, and, you know, if you zero as a boater, it's over with. I don't think you're making the regional unless you win one. So I legitimately was worried about zeroing when I launched, and I caught a couple fish. You know, not happy with that performance, but certainly grateful to have a few fish. I know a lot of good fishermen that caught 2 or 3 fish. If I could have caught one more fish, a couple more pounds, you know, I'd have moved way up in the point standings. You know, it really helped. But I did what I had to do with 2 fish. So I hope this helps you a little bit. You know, understand logistics are going to be tough on High Rock Lake. As always, you're not going to have a lot of cell phone service. Fish finesse baits, try that. Try sticking to 1, 2, 3 areas and just work a rotation in the lake. Always look shallow. You know, I caught my fish on a shallow crankbait. That's how I caught them. You would not have expected that in the end of June, but that's how I got bit. And you know, just keep working it, and I wish you the best on High Rock Lake, and I hope you guys have a great day. I hope everyone had a great 4th, and I'm getting ready to go fly fishing, and their next tournament is the James River, which I'm really looking forward to. It'll be shallow tidal fishery, a lot of vegetation, a lot of wood. You know, it should be a fun tournament. The James is kind of a really big place. You can run a lot of places and do a lot of different things. So hope everybody is doing well, and we'll see you next tournament out here.